All right, my beautiful babes. We are, well, I like to say the end, but really it's actually just the beginning. We do these 8-week challenges as often as you need. And the idea of an 8-week challenge is just to have that accountability for that section of time. And even though we have reached the end, so to speak, of this particular phase, and it'd be easy to go, all right, cool, Christmas is here, school holidays, all the things. I'm just going to have 5 weeks off and then hit the ground running again come Jan 15. But I don't want you to do that completely. I want you to just keep going with the things that you learnt. I want it to be so deeply embedded in your brains that you're going to do a colon cleanse at least minimum once a year for the rest of your life. And then just check in with yourself right then and there with me saying that. Like, does that send shivers down your spine? Like, oh my God, like it's the hardest thing in the world. Because I know I fought that demon for quite a while too. I was probably a qualified naturopath for a good 10 years before I even tackled my first juice fast, because I had so many stories around how difficult a juice fast would be. And, I've got a big appetite and I'm active, so I've got a fast metabolism. I can't juice fast. I had all the stories. And now I look forward to doing, well, I don't know if I look forward to them, but I just embrace them because I know how good I feel for them. Over time, I've broken down those stories, and this is exactly as it is for everything, every task, every element of health. I'm still very much in a love-hate relationship with my ice bath practice, as a lot of you know if you follow me on the Instagram. I haven't done one again now for over a week. I constantly stop and start because I can't get a consistent flow with them, because it triggers absolute fear in me and that discomfort. And so what I want to spend a little bit of time going over today is just giving you guys some space to sit with some of your stories around some of the tasks that we've set. And one of the biggest ones I wanted to really point out is going gluten-free. If going gluten-free, if you're sitting there thinking, to anyone who's watching the replay or here in live, thinking, yay, 8 weeks is up, I can go back to my normal diet, well, then you've missed the point altogether. The idea of this 8 weeks challenge is to, yes, to hold that container of expectation and accountability, but is to teach you lifelong habits. So if you're sort of thinking, oh my God, yay, the 8 weeks is over, I've given it all I've got, now I'm just going to go back to eating gluten, you've missed the point, because it doesn't matter whether you have a celiac disease or not, gluten is inflammatory to you and it will affect your ability to absorb nutrients. It will put stress and pressure on your liver. It will inflame your joints. It will cause all sorts of things in your body, including your ability to maintain healthy hormone balance. So your attitude to gluten should be, it's a cheat food. And I don't care if you have that gluten meal once a week, that's totally fine. I'm all about you living the human experience. I'm all about you having enough trust and faith in your body's ability to do the naughty things on occasions. Like, you all know, like I have glasses of wine on the weekends, because I've got to a point in my relationship with my body and my relationship with the world around me as a human being who gets to do and experience and feel and have all the things that I know that my body can withstand, having wine on Saturday and Sunday. If I were to drink it 7 days a week, I would be a mess. My skin would break out. I'd put on weight. I'd be moody. I'd be emotional. I'd be cranky. All of the things. So this is where I want you to find your sweet point as well, with all of the things that we share with you over this 8 weeks. The dietary stuff, the health hacks. Some of you will probably continue to do, a daily coffee enema ongoing. Some of you will go, great, I feel good if I do my one coffee enema a week. I'm great. I've got that, or my one enema. It doesn't matter. It's not about there's set numbers for anything. It's about you having that stillness, having that presence, having that softness to learn what is right for you and your body. And it's going to take time to understand this. And so this is why it's so important for you to sit down and go, all right, we're about to go on holiday, so to speak. You're all about to have maybe some time off for Christmas. You're all about to have beautiful big Christmas lunches and all the other things that come with this festive season. What of these hacks can you maintain through? I want for you guys to get to a point where doing a coffee enema every couple of days doesn't feel like a chore. I want you to get to a point where doing a probiotic implant once a week, it's just something that you do and you embrace it, and that's okay. So this is where I want you to sit down. So in our 8-week week 8 guidebook this week, I've sort of put a bit of a table, a bit of a checklist, a list of all the main things that we've really focused on over these 8 weeks. And so I do want you to spend some time, you know, either now while we're chatting, or you may print that out, or and over this next week, just really working through that and identifying the stories, because the stories are always and forever the only thing that will stop you from having and doing and being and achieving whatever it is that you desire, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your health, all of the things. It's our stories. It's our beliefs. And so I'm going to go over this just one last time again for this call, the emotional evolution process. It is learning to embrace triggers, understanding that a trigger is happening for you as an opportunity for you to see something different, as an opportunity for a light to have been shown on a limiting belief that is not serving you. And it extends out. Sometimes it calls for you to set a better boundary. Sometimes it calls for you and you only to change your approach to something. Sometimes it calls for you to do deeper healing or forgiveness. There's different ways that learnings from an emotional trigger, but ultimately it is there for your good to learn from and grow from and evolve from. So the emotional evolution process is simply having the self-awareness and enough stillness and connection with self to slow down and look at that trigger with that beautiful open heart and go, wow, this has really rocked me. This really hurts. This really and just observe it and go, what are the stories I'm telling myself? What have I made this situation mean? Is that ultimately true? When we've all heard the saying, it's hit a nerve. Essentially what that means is it's opened up a wound. And we get really, really good at, because life just has to go on, right? A traumatic event can occur in your life. And that can be something as simple as being dumped by your boyfriend or whatever, as a teenager. And we learn how life just keeps moving on, whether you heal from it or not. But that wound may sustain, suppressed under the layers. And we learn how to cope with that by basically, we learn how to cope with that purely just by either numbing ourselves by, overeating, alcohol use, online shopping. There's so many of these. It doesn't really matter what the behavior is, but it's a behavior to increase a dopamine hit so that we can temporarily distract ourselves from that uncomfortable feeling we don't want to. If we could all learn to sit with the trigger in the moment, or, and sometimes it can take a few days to work through a trigger, then we can actually really feel to that deep level and change our relationship with the situation in terms of changing our story. Maybe it's showing you need to set a boundary. And sometimes it's ending relationships with that in that toxic friendship or whatever. Sometimes it's, you have the information within you. Your intuition will always know how is best for you to overcome that, but that awareness can't come through unless you're willing to sit in it. And so that's all emotional evolution is giving yourself the space to feel, to sit in it, to practice a self-inquiry, to look at it with that set of eyes that says, all right, this is happening for me, not to me. What do I need to know? And then from there, have the awareness come through for you to move through and change your story, change your belief around that situation. And I always reiterate this stuff because when you know this off by heart, and some of you may already by the end of this 8 weeks, you just automatically do this every time something annoying happens, and you get to just observe, even a thought of judgment that you have when you're out and about and you notice yourself having a thought of judgment. You're like, oh, wow, I just felt myself judging that person. What is it about what that person's doing? What is my belief about what that person's doing? Why have I made that wrong? Why am I in judgment? Because whenever we're in judgment of anyone else, it's a reflection of something that we're judging ourselves around. So that's the emotional evolution. It is the backbone of this. When you have the space and energy, and you may never, and that's completely okay, to really dive deep into the Hormone Healing System online course, you will see as we work through all the modules, we look at the emotional element to every disease or every symptom that you experience. Because I do believe that there's suppressed emotion under most symptoms. And so this is why having this as a foundational tool and understanding how to work through this process is such an important part of you healing. And then obviously the other parts of the online healing course is we look at like the spiritual growth, and our spiritual growth is about our connection. And that's really about our relationship with the world around us, our purpose. It's about our relationship with the universe around us, which is there to support us, if that's what we believe. But that's, sort of off the track a little bit there, but that is there for you guys. You have a lifetime access to that course. And so the 8-week program that we do as a group is, I'm not going to say surface level because it's still obviously deep work and stuff that we can do to heal, but it's nowhere near as deep as the content if you choose to dive in and go through the hormone healing system. It's big, deep, holistic healing. There's a lot more going on in the hormone healing system. So it would be very easy for you to just have that in the background and keep, putting it off because you got lifetime access, right? There's no urgency to go and do it, but you will find there is a lot more information. There is a lot more expanded, there's more protocols. Obviously all the deep parasite cleansing, treating the SIBO, there's treating the candida. There's new modules going to be added, all heavy metal detoxification and all sorts of stuff. The 8-week challenge is just more about training you guys in day-to-day, week-to-week stuff that you can do to feel better, to stay accountable, to connect with the body. So they're two kind of very different things. And moving forward, this is how it will be run. And I'm going to do that to simplify things. So you guys have lifetime access to the Hormone Healing System course. Moving forward, when I relaunch this for the new year, we're just excluding the Hormone Healing course altogether. They're literally just going to be doing the 8-week course with us, because the predominant feedback that I got off a lot of people was that it's too confusing. And I get it, because there's so much content in the hormone healing system, so much videos. So I'm just going to simplify and try doing that. And potentially the hormone healing system will be, to new people joining us, will be an option for people to join as a monthly subscription sort of thing, that they can jump on and have access to it month to month as they want. You guys will have lifetime access to it forever though. And that's just as an attempt for people to go into this 8-week challenge not feeling overwhelmed from the get-go, because overwhelmed people, as we know, they do nothing. And, for most of you people that are already, here on this live call or even watching the replay, you've probably done more work than a lot of the people who haven't showed up consistently, because you have better coping skills with overwhelm. Or maybe it's just that you're at a different point in your life where prioritizing education around health there was time and space for you to do that in your life. So it's not wrong or right, but that's sort of where we're moving forward. So what I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you all tonight on is setting you up for next round, setting you up for 2024. And basically, I'm just going to run you through asking a whole heap of questions that I want you to answer in your journal. Because remember, knowing yourself really, really well is the key to overcoming those limiting beliefs. Because for a lot of us, our limiting beliefs aren't actually even in our conscious awareness. We're not even aware that we're thinking that or believing that about ourselves until, of course, the trigger comes and smacks us in the face. And that's why I always say celebrate your triggers. There's so much growth in them. There's so much expansion in them for you. There's so much information. So the first question I want you to do some journaling around quickly is, I want you to just reflect on this 8-week session. And I want you to ask yourself, did you show up as much as you initially intended to? And by showing up, I mean watching the videos, watching the replays, participating in the health hacks. And we're answering these questions with no judgment. The best way to move forward and achieve even more is by being in complete acceptance of where you're at. So it's not to say, oh my God, yeah, I'm hopeless. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I don't want any of that negative self-talk. It's just, this is just where I'm at. And that next, stage of that question is, if not, why not? And then I want you to really sit with that. And we can call them an excuse or we can call them a reason. There's not a lot of difference between the two of them. The word excuse always feels a little bit more triggering. Reason is, at the end of the day, somewhat to a degree, still a bit of an excuse. if you are willing to play in the space of complete self-responsibility. If you were still listing all the reasons why you didn't do as much as you thought you wanted to commit to initially, because life happened to you, because circumstances happened to you, because my kids got sick, or because I didn't have time, the reasons, I want you to then reframe and turn that reason and look at it from this space of humility, but self-empowerment, because you're taking responsibility. Because I guarantee you, if you have a whole host of reasons why you didn't get stuck into this round because life was throwing obstacles at you, that is probably going to be the projection of your life in all areas of your life moving forward, because you have an underlying belief that is making you a vibrational match for shit just happening. And we hear it all the time, people saying things like, oh my God, shit like this always happens to me. I have the worst luck. Stories like that. And again, I'm not saying any of this from a space of calling you on your shit, you know, judging you, demanding you to do better. This is all an opportunity for you to start observing your patterns, because a lot of these patterns are playing out unconsciously. And then we wonder why. You know, even someone, you know, we use examples, oh yeah, I always get sick, always catch a cold. Well, why are you always catching a cold, for example? Why are you a vibrational match to catching a cold every 6 weeks or whatever it is? It's about really taking ownership of what you are creating. Yes, unconsciously, you are unconsciously creating getting sick every 6 weeks. But until we really step right back and look at it happening as a creation of something that you are creating unconsciously because you're a vibrational match, that's when we can really show up differently to create a different outcome. And my job is to empower you guys. My job is to, yes, love you and praise you and hold your hand and give you the self-confidence to be able to do hard things. But it's also my job to push you out of your comfort zone a little bit and call you on and help you become aware of the limiting beliefs that are going to keep tripping you up until we're willing to admit where they're at. And I still have these same obstacles in my world. These obstacles don't disappear. The more you grow and expand and the more you wish for yourself, the more you're going to be shown where you're not actually truly open and this huge expanded vibration to receive and have. Let me use an example for me, for example. Like say, for example, if I'm not getting enough clients for the week, I get to shift that. If I wanted to do the deep inner work on looking at, well, why was I really quiet in clinic this week, and look at, well, what was going on for me, I can change that. You know, so it's not, like I said, I don't want you to think of yourself at any stage of this journey of thinking, oh my God, I'm so far behind, I have so much to learn, because this sort of learning and growth never actually ends. And I guarantee you, all the people in the world who are like those motivational speakers, those growth coaches, those people that are living their best lives, they're still overcoming these sorts of challenges all the time. It's just simply growth and expansion. And this is why I don't want you to look at it as a bad thing. You're not a bad person for getting triggered. You're not a bad person for having a poor me day. It's just all opportunity to overcome and change and shift and grow. So next, I want you to look at starting over again for this next 8-week challenge. And I want you to set some new goals. So some of them may be the same as the original goals of what you had for the first round, and that's totally fine. It's not abnormal for it to take various attempts at an 8-week challenge before you actually start to see growth or results, or so to speak. A lot of us in this day and age, not just the women in this group, are dealing with chronic conditions, things that have been slow burning in the background for a really long time. So to think that we could naively click it like that, although I do believe that is possible to overcome, you know, chronic conditions, chronic illnesses, whatever, quickly and easily, until you truly are a really high vibing individual who is so conscious, so aware of every thought, so connected to everything, even their unconscious, it is going to take work to overcome and shift things and heal things in the body. Like, you know, my health journey, you know, where it took me a solid year to get over the biggest chunk of what I had going on in terms of my adrenal fatigue, my thyroid not working, the cystic acne I was getting all over my back. The eczema took probably, it was like 4 or 5 years before I eradicated that completely, because it had a lot of emotional layers attached to it. But it took a good year for me to lose that 14 kilos and do all those other things. So it didn't happen instantly overnight, because that was also the perfect timeline that I needed too. And what I mean by that is there was so much learning to have. There was so much relearning what diet I had to follow. There was so much learning how to health hacks and stuff like that. So I don't want you to make, the things that you haven't achieved over this 8 weeks, I don't want you to make them a bad thing that you haven't. It's not a fail. It's you've started chipping away at them. You've learnt more awareness around them. You've started to understand them. Like I said, if you've had time to really read the Emotional Evolution Journal and watch the Emotional Evolution videos within the Hormone Healing System, you have probably started exploring the emotional elements to what you're working on as well. It's an unraveling, it's an unfolding. So with these new goals, I want you to just close down your eyes, and we're going to just go within now. We're going to tune in, connect in, do a little bit of breath for a moment. And we're going to identify some obstacles that may be getting in the way. So just keep writing those goals for the next few minutes while we set this up. Okay, cool. So we're just closing down your eyes when you're ready. Take a nice big deep breath in. We're going to start the process of being really present within our body. Because remember, your beautiful body has all of the answers. The art is connecting with this body of yours and learning to understand the subtle nudges, the sensations, the feelings, the communication that is occurring all day, every day. Just take a nice deep breath again. And I want you to just do some gentle nasal breathing. You don't have to force it. It's just your natural nasal breath, but I want it in the nose and out the mouth if you can't breathe clearly through your nose. But just this simple act of nose breathing calms down the body. It alkalizes your body. It gets us into a state of stillness. It activates our parasympathetic nervous system. And from the parasympathetic nervous system is when we can be truly connected to our intuition. So I want you to just first of all start by celebrating the 8 weeks that's been. And I want you to celebrate the things you have learned, the new things you did try. It doesn't matter if it wasn't as much as what you thought it was. That's right. I want to get you into a vibration of self-appreciation, of celebrating self, celebrating the expansion that you have achieved. So from this state, we're going to do a little bit of breath. We're just going to do a 10 breaths through in the mouth, out the mouth, and we're going to do them quite fast to activate this nervous system of ours. So just following my lead now. Holding at the top for me. Feeling life force moving through your body. That's right. Your heart's beating a little faster now. Blood's pumping. Energy's moving through your body. Going again for 10 seconds. Holding at the top for me. Feel your energy expanding that a little bit more, visualizing it. Visualizing your heart opening up. Your crown chakra opening up. Everything softening and just expanding. And as you expand, you're opening up communication with the beautiful world around you. Quantum field. Going again now for 10 rounds. Holding for me. And just letting go now. Dropping those shoulders, dropping the jaw. You to imagine yourself grounding into this beautiful earthly plane. But then your beautiful crown expanding so much. Allowing your consciousness to go and explore into the quantum field. The field of unlimited possibilities. That's right. But I want you to operate from the heart from the moment. I want you to connect with your heart, placing your hand on your heart. And this heart space of yours is going to drive our self-acceptance, our self-forgiveness, and our self-belief. I want you to ask yourself, are you connected and tuned in with those three things? What is your relationship with those three things? Self-acceptance, self-love, and self-belief. You could give yourself a score out of 100 in terms of the percentage of how great you are with those three things. What would you rate yourself? And I want you to ask yourself, am I willing and ready to expand that number to 100%? Am I willing to have unlimited conditional love for myself through all of my flaws, through all of my failures, through all of my learnings, through all of my bodily communicational symptoms? Can I still love myself unconditionally now? And if that number didn't hit 100, what needs to shift in you? What story are you telling yourself about how lovable you are? And if you feel that resistance coming back to our original, such simple, beautiful tool, and just affirming, I'm willing to see things differently. I'm willing to love myself unconditionally. I'm willing to love myself the same way that my pet or my child or my partner loves me. And if you can't get to 100 on your own right now, I want you to tune in and tap into that unconditional love you feel from a pet or a family member or a lover. And even if that only boosts you another 10 to 15%, we're still winning. And all I need you to affirm is I'm willing and open and ready to learn how to love myself unconditionally. Take a nice deep breath in, feeling that heart expand. And asking yourself, when it comes to your self-acceptance, where does your ability to accept yourself exactly as you are score right now? That's right. What needs to shift in you? What needs to change in you instantly? What's the first flaw that you think about that's blocking you or stopping you from accepting yourself fully right now? For a lot of you will be, once I achieve this, I can accept myself. Or once I change this about myself. I want you to ask yourself, is that really true? And I want you to sit with an idea that maybe by simply dropping those standards and those judgments for yourself, of yourself, is the only thing that is holding you back from actually having everything you choose to desire for yourself. If I could give you absolutely anything that you wanted, and I'm talking love, relationship, money, all the material desires that you could ever ask for, all the health that you could ever ask for, if you could have all of that right now, all you had to do was just accept yourself 100% and love yourself 100%. Would you be willing to do it? When we can love and accept ourselves unconditionally, that is when we start to open up and receive everything I just mentioned there. How they're intrinsically related. I'm willing to see things differently. And lastly now, tuning back in. And I want you to notice there's going to be a slight softening already just by going into the heart. Your self-belief. Our ability to believe in ourselves and our ability to achieve, to believe that we can achieve our goals, our health goals, our career goals, our relationship goals, is that final 10% of getting you over the line of achieving things. I truly believe that. There's always an element of work that needs to be done to achieving something. There's an element of aligned action. But a big part of it is actually, are you a vibrational match for believing that you can actually do it? So your self-belief. Do you believe you have what it takes to achieve your health goals? Do you believe anything that you don't yet know, you're able and willing to learn? Do you believe that you can call in all of the support that you could possibly need in order to achieve that goals? Do you believe that your body truly wants to heal and achieve your health goals? Just allow any awareness there to come through. Any little thought at all is relevant. This space of expansion, intuition is sharing freely information now. Information that you now get to work through with the emotional evolution process to shift that story so that we can move into unconditional self-love, unconditional self-acceptance, and unwavering belief. Belief in self, but belief in unconditional support that you have from the universe and the world around you. These three things are going to be the things that are going to make or break your ability to achieve your 2024 goals. That's right. So now what we're going to do is a little bit of action taking in terms of what is something that you're going to do differently next year. And I don't like talking about this in, in segments like that, this challenge versus next challenge, because I want this challenge for you to flow on into the next challenge. I want you to keep up your self-care regime. Like I said, you've got the next 5 weeks spare to just be watching videos from the hormone healing system. What's something that you're going to do differently in your approach to next year's health? Now, this could be a shift in mindset, a shift in a belief. It could be a shift in your morning routine. It could be calling in a friend or a partner to take on the 8-week challenge with you. What does your body need to do differently in order to get a different outcome? Just taking a nice deep breath in and allowing that wisdom to drop in. I'm actually going to test this for the group.
all out of tune.
Okay, so what's actually coming up for the group is quiet. So what that typically means is about quietening an old belief, quietening a story. So has there been something that's been going around on repeat in your head? And like I said, for many of you, it'll come back to time and circumstances that have permitted you. And, you know, in other reasons, oh, well, you know, our lease ended, we had to move house and it was really busy and that just took everything over. Just life circumstances that happen and will continue to happen for the rest of your life. But if we can approach circumstances but still maintain our consistent commitment to our self-care and our personal growth in terms of repairing our relationship with ourselves, looking at our unconditional beliefs, changing the way we feel about ourselves, changing our stories, then these life circumstances don't stop us in our tracks anymore. What needs to be quietened in your stories? So now I want to expand on this a little bit further because I believe that health is very much not just about our physical body health. To achieve good health, it's also about achieving good happiness. So I want you just to spend a few minutes now also writing a couple of personal goals. And that might look like getting a new job. It could look like going on an overseas holiday. It could look like whatever it is. It's a personal goal. And a personal goal is largely in line with your values. So it could be like, you know, adventure or, you know, travel or whatever. And I want you to write at least 3. And then after you feel like you've got those 3 written down, I want you to write 3 relationship goals. And that could be something like, you know, me and my partner studying a course together, me and my partner overcoming X problem that we keep, you know, being shown, whatever it is for you, a relationship goal. It could even be something to do with your parenting.
What was the first one, Stace?
So personal goal.
Personal.
Yeah. So something like, for example, you know, one of my personal goals for 2024 is to take the kids to Fiji.
Yeah.
So then we got relationship goals. And then lastly, it's just a financial or career goal. Because for me, holistic health is looking at all areas of our life. If you have like you just say you absolutely hate your relationship with money, or you hate your job, you feel like you're constantly poor, that is leaching energy out of your vibration. So how can you maintain a really high vitality and a physical level if we've got these areas in our life that are draining from us and taking from us? And so this is why when we're doing goal setting for the year ahead, it's about all areas of our life. It's not just about health. And obviously that's our focus for this work that we're doing. But I will always encourage you guys to be looking at all areas of your life. So with that, that's sort of the main thing I wanted to just get you guys focused on. It's and just reiterating, like I said, we've come to the week of our end of our 8-week challenge. This Facebook group will remain open continuously. So please continue to ask questions in there. Please continue to share where you're up to and new things you're creating for yourself, new circumstances. We want to build, this is a place where you can still find out information. Like I said, hopefully come early January, we'll have a new fresh group of people that are going to come in and join us. there may be some slight changes of structure to it a little bit, in that I'm thinking about maybe doing it Wednesday evenings instead, maybe just to mix things up. I'll put a bit of a poll in the group to find things up. Like, I'm going to talk to a few of you individually just for a little more feedback as to how I can help everyone make it a bit more beneficial and doable. But the main message that's coming through at this point is simplifying it even more. And that's a big trigger of mine that I've had to work through, in terms of wanting to give and give and give and give, but I'm actually not helping people. If they're so overwhelmed, they do nothing at all. But then I think, oh my God, if I don't give them enough value, I've got to get them value for money, so I've got to give them all the videos. But it's like, nah, it's different. So that's sort of where I'm at with it moving forward. I hope to speak to you all, whether it be individually or in the group, over Christmas. So I'm not going to say see you next year, because let's keep the communication up. But, you know, if I don't, because we won't be doing the group calls until that week of January 15th, I hope you all have an amazing week. Celebration, festive season, connection with family. The holidays can absolutely be a big trigger point for a lot of people. You know, our family, gosh bless them, quite often are big triggers for a lot of people. And that's okay. They're the people that we love the most, can usually hurt us the most, right? Because they're the ones we're seeking their approval, seeking their validation, all these things, right? So remember your tools. Remember your tools of how you get to reframe it and work through this trigger is happening for me, not to me. What do I need to shift in me? And the same goes for, you know, the festive season. If you're going to be eating a little bit more and a little bit differently here and there and drinking more alcohol, whatever, just remember your self-care hacks that protect your body from these things. That has always been an underlying philosophy of Balanced Babes. We are here to live a beautiful human existence, and that does include enjoying food and or alcohol. Doesn't mean you have to drink alcohol, but I mean, like, it's okay to do these things in moderation. It's okay to enjoy this world too, and we can do that and still maintain really good health and our ideal body type and all these things. So that's what I want you to truly believe. So with that being said, sending you all lots of love. I hope you have a nice evening, and I will see you when I see you.